Already. Asha Shabbat, Shalom Mashpaka. May peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Kalala abayaba, Shama Mashaki, Shaba Rakatanta, Wadaba, Kalala Ya, Halawaya, Kalala Ya, Halawaya, Barakatam, Halawaya, Barakatam, the Wadaba, the Bar Mashpaka. Welcome, welcome, family, welcome. I'm going to give a moment for the notifications to be sent out to those who have their notifications turned on. I encourage you to go ahead and turn on those notifications so that way you won't miss any content that gets put out. To turn on your notifications, you'll have to click the bell icon that's on this channel. And after you click that bell icon, be sure that you have all notifications checked so that way you don't miss a step of any of this content that gets put out. Be sure to go ahead and click that like button when you step in. Wipe your feet on the rug before you step in. So we're going to talk about that smoke. There's a lot of controversy going about around that smoke. We're going to get into it concerning that smoke. Now this live stream, this lesson is definitely going to be geared toward many people who may be battling a stronghold pertaining this smoke, right? This is really going to help you out if you're battling to be released from such a stronghold by the way of that smoke. Shalom, Josephine Israel, Asha Shabbat. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know and put this spiritual advisory out for everybody who's tuning in. This is highly spiritual content. So if you're afflicted by such a practice, this may get under your skin. Some of the things that might be said concerning the truth of YAH may bother you a bit, but that's okay. We already know that sword is quick and powerful and sharper than any weapon that's in existence. So if you get cut, take that cut. It's a good thing to be cut. I repeat, it's a good thing to be cut by the word. Because when you get cut, that wickedness is bleeding out. You might as well just let it bleed out. Get all that wickedness out your system, let it bleed out if you get cut. So that smoke, right? Many people are wrapped up in that smoke. And they wrap so much into that smoke that there's been created a national holiday regarding that smoke. And we already know what Abba Yahweh thinks about these holidays, these folly days. right? We already know what he thinks about that. Amos 5:21. So tomorrow is a holiday for that smoke. Now, here's the thing about that. With tomorrow being a day of that smoke, Hashatan's gonna be busy. Hashatan is gonna be busy. Be well. I'll leave it as that. Without further ado, we're gonna hit the track running, right? We're gonna hit the track running and see exactly what Yahweh thinks about that smoke. Now, we're also going to cover some of the rebuttals that Israelites who are supposed to be in the truth that participate in that smoke misconstrue the scriptures to support their habit. But straight out the gate, we're going to see what Yahweh thinks about that smoke here in Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 17. We're going to the book of Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 17. And it reads, Then he said unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit. Here, I'll read that again. Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 17. Then he said unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here. For they have filled the land with violence and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. That's the key right there. That's the key point of the verse to let you know what Yahweh thinks about smoking. Now, mind you, we all know who Yahweh is. And we know that Yahweh is very figurative in his speech, just like many of us. So there's a lot of similes, metaphors that he speaks, just like we do. Now, him mentioning smoking was him mentioning that they put the branch to their nose. We're gonna dissect that. What did Yahweh mean when he said, and lo, and look, they put the branch to their nose? Now, I'll tell y'all this, Mashpakar. I had a discussion about this with a fellow Israelite last year, I'll say. Sometime last year, I ran into a fellow Israelite out the blue out here, and we started getting into the scriptures. This brother and his family, mainly this brother and his brother, but his whole family was present. And this particular brother was a member of a certain congregation. I'm not going to say that congregation's name, but he was a member of a certain church that recognizes the heritage of Israel. All right, it's a certain church. I'm not going to mention their name. Many of y'all probably know of this church. Some of y'all are probably members of this church. But if you catch my drift, don't even mention the name of the church in the chat. So we get into the scripts. We get into the scripts. And I discovered the brother smokes. And we get to talking about that, and I showed him this particular verse. And the brother's response was, this was the Most High stating their arrogance or their haughtiness or their pride. He basically said that Yahweh was talking about how prideful they were, that they lift their nose up in the air to where it touches the branches. I'm like, no, that's not what he's talking about. And we're going to dissect the scriptures to back that up to show that's not what he was talking about. He was talking about the very act of smoking, the branch to the nose. Think about it. The branch, a botanical, right? A plant matter, being close to the nose, right? What's the main function of the nose, Mashbaka? It's not only to smell, but it's also to breathe, inhale, right? So if you got a branch next to your nose, you're inhaling. And if you're able to inhale plant life, that means that plant matter has dried out and it's been lit with fire to change the composition into a gas called smoke. And in either way, if an individual is smoking, that particular plant matter that's relative to a branch is right underneath the nose. And at many times, that gas of that plant matter is inhaled through the nose. See, niggas will take that and flip it around all kind of ways to justify their folly. And if you have any common sense, the Most High will want you to use that common sense pertaining to this. And how do we know that he was upset about the house of Judah putting the branch to their nose? Check the contents within the scripture itself. As he speaks to Ezekiel, he's like, have you seen what the house of Judah has done? They make it a light thing to commit the abominations which they commit. They fill the land with violence, and they continue to provoke me to anger. And look, they put the branch to their nose. Now, Mashpaka, why would Yahweh state all of that negative that he mentioned in this verse, all the negativity going toward the actions of our fellow Judites back in the day and even to this day? Why would he list all the negativities to only point at a foolish outcome as, oh, they're being prideful? Why would he do that? No, that's not what it is. We're going to find out here sooner, but I got some other precepts to go into, and then we're going to connect that precept to another precept to see exactly why putting the branch to the nose is an unnatural use of such matter. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through YAH to the pulling down of strongholds. Ashar Shabbat Shalom, true follower. Welcome. So being caught up in this matter of that smoke, right? Especially if you're trying to justify it after the Most High made it clear that it's something he doesn't like. He said it himself and he expressed it figuratively that he doesn't like it. It's the unnatural use of such matter that he created. And again, we will go into that and show you why. However, we shouldn't be walking after the flesh, having a dependency on such a habit to where you get in your feelings if somebody speaks against it. Many people get in their feelings when you speak against this habit. But, if you have any faith and any knowledge of YAH, especially the spiritual weapons that are given to us, that are at our disposal whenever we need it, we should be able to pull down those strongholds, right? And I'm no hypocrite in discussing this matter because many years ago, I had experience with doing this myself. It was something I partook in many years ago. Even when I was doing it, something in the back of my mind kept telling me, you don't need to be doing this. Why are you doing this? You don't need this stuff. And from experience and from the wisdom that I've gained, I'm able to discuss this with you all today, as many other individuals in the truth can discuss this and tell you why it's wrong. But anytime I have this discussion with a fellow Akim or Akwaf, there's pushback, emotional pushback. Such an act got y'all that emotional. That's a problem. That's a problem if such an act of an inanimate object, right? Something that is put on this earth for a reason, but you're getting so defensive to it when somebody speaks against its use in that way. Let's get back to the scripts here. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imaginations. Casting down imaginations. And every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of YAH, and bring it into captivity every thought to the obedience of Mashiach. So that brother that I was talking about who was defending such a practice, when I told him Mashiach didn't do such a practice, he continued to tell me that the act of smoking isn't a commandment, so it's not a sin. Oh, it's not in our commandments, it's not in the law, so it's not a sin. That's exactly how devils want you to think. That's exactly how devils want you to think. See, when it comes to abiding by the code of YAH, some of the things pertaining to his will, you can only receive through the spirit, through a Wakwadash. Though we have 615 laws, there are things within those laws that require wisdom to have a full grasp on. And to know that the act of smoking is a sin requires such wisdom. And again, be patient because we're gonna break it down, and we're gonna expose through the word how it is indeed a sin and against our Tharawa. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 6. And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Verse 7. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trust to himself that he is Mashiach's, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Mashiach's, even so are we Mashiach's. So again, this goes into denying yourself. Denying yourself, right? If you're willing to debate such an act, when somebody calls it out and can prove it with scripture, that's a red flag, Mashpaka. It means you got a demonic stronghold on you concerning this particular habit. It really does. Mashiach required for us to deny ourselves and follow him. And my question again is, when did Mashiach show us the act of smoking? When did he show us that? When did he do it? No, he didn't. But you'll have some demonic ass people that for somehow will draw up in their mind that Mashiach smoked. No, he didn't. He didn't, because he knew the intended purpose of oxygen. He knew the intended purpose of the lungs. He knew the intended purpose of plant matter. He was the craftsman of it all. He made it all, by the way. So he know how all this works. Now, continuing on to verse 8, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 8. For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which Yahweh hath given us for edification, and not for your destruction, I should not be ashamed. So I'm not going to be ashamed for calling out this habit. Nor am I going to let anybody who has a demonic stronghold toward this habit try to gainsay me on the matter. Because science itself will tell you that it is a destructive habit. Science will tell you that it is a destructive habit itself. And we're gonna get spiritual. We're gonna get real spiritual. We're gonna dissect it from a spiritual perspective to the utmost, Mashpaka. You see, science itself will tell you, right? Okay, oxygen comes from trees. In exchange for the oxygen, the trees take in carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe out after our body has broken down the composition of oxygen to its appropriate use for our sustainability, right? So oxygen is put out by trees. We put out carbon dioxide, dioxide, excuse me. We put out carbon dioxide, and the plants take in that carbon dioxide. We take in the oxygen. There's an equal exchange. I'll let y'all ponder on that for a second. Now, here is the natural use of such herbs. We're going to start with the first creation in Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. And it reads, and Yah said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind. whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. Verse 12, and the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and YAH saw that it was good. Verse 13, and the evening and the morning were the third day. So Yahweh had all the plant life made on the third day of the creation of the world. So oxygen was the third most important element that was coming from plant matter. Okay, so we know that the plant life was made on the third day of the creation of earth. Now, what is that plant matter intended for? Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And YAH said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and that which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Now, Mashpukah, we started off with Yahweh expressing his displeasure toward our kinfolk back in the day, putting the branch to their nose after committing all type of violence and abominations, but adding the branch to the nose as a cherry on top of all their vile acts. He said they put the branch to the nose. So they're inhaling plant life. They are inhaling it, breaking it down, breaking its composition down by the way of smoking. So when you do that, Mashpukah, when you break down plant life into a gas and you inhale it for whatever benefits you get, you are taking something that YAH made and misusing it. Its natural use isn't to be broken down to a gas for your lungs to inhale. That's not even the natural use of your lungs. Your lungs weren't made to inhale smoke. Try to just breathe smoke all day, nothing but smoke all day. You're going to die. That should tell you something. Hello? Go into a smoky room full of smoke and get locked up in there. You're eventually going to die because the lungs wasn't created to inhale smoke. Oh, it's not in Torah, right? It's not in Torah, right? It's not in our Torah, huh? It's not. All right. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils and breathed into his nostrils and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. So is a room full of smoke an element of life, or is it an element of death? Answer that question. I want y'all to answer that question to yourselves. Is a room full of smoke an element that is life-sustaining or life-ending? If you're in a room full of smoke, Is it going to sustain your life or is it going to end your life? Here in Genesis 2 and 7, we see that Yahweh breathed the breath of life into man and made him a living soul. So when you have breath of life, you're breathing in oxygen. You're not breathing in smoke. You niggas make this mess so complicated because you're stuck on your idolatry of such an act. Your idolatry of such an herb. It's not that difficult to see. Even science will tell you. Even science will tell you, nah, this is not really good for you. You look on a pack of cigarettes, you get a warning from the Surgeon General telling you that this will cause cancer and other diseases. So no matter what it is, if it's smoke, it's hurting you. It's not making you better, it's hurting you. Because the lungs weren't designed to breathe in smoke. The lungs were designed to breathe in life-sustaining air, not smoke. You cannot be in a room full of smoke and sustain your life. You're eventually going to need air because that smoke wasn't developed to sustain life. It wasn't developed to give you life. Khan, true follower. Khan. He says it's really not that difficult to see, but many of us are stuck in the strongholds so bad people will make delusional excuses. Facts. Straight up. Straight up. And you see, those who are stuck in this delusion, who are supposed to be in the truth, will twist up scripture to support such a delusion, which is very dangerous because when you twist up scripture to support such a delusion, that's also blasphemy of YAH Kodash. That is blasphemy of YAH Kodash because it's definitely in Torah, as we're reading from Torah concerning smoking. Oh, it's not in the law because it's not word for word. You need the spirit to know this. You need the YAH Kodash to know this. If you don't have YAH Kodash, you're going to look at our Torah from a fleshly standpoint and say, oh, it's not in here, so that means it's not a sin. It's not a sin, it's not in here. If you're going about like that with that type of doctrine, you sound just like a buffoon. In my imitation of a buffoon, that's how stupid you sound. Because you're committing blasphemy against YAH Kodash to support something that Yah didn't intend for such use. Now, let's go to another verse that delusional Israelites will go to support such folly. Yeah, this is a verse that delusional Israelites will go to support such a folly. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 7. And it reads, in my distress I called upon Yahweh and cried to my Elohim, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Verse 8, then the earth shook and trembled. the foundations of heaven moved and shook because he was wroth. Verse 9. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils. They went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth. Devoured, coals were kindled by it. So verse 9, delusional Israelites will go to that verse and say, see, he had smoke coming out of his nostrils. All right. So basically they're trying to say that the Most High up on his throne smoking, getting high. Let me tell y'all something. The Most High is a fearsome entity. He is a fearsome entity. So if he has smoke coming out of his nostrils, it's just by the way of the power that is within him. You're talking about the most powerful entity there is. If he has smoke coming out of his nostrils and fire out of his mouth, how can you relate to that? How can you relate smoking to that? Do you have fire coming out of your mouth? Are you breathing out fire? You want to go as far as to support smoking because the Most High has smoke coming out of his nostrils? You think he up there smoking? Oh yeah, the Most High, he up there smoking, so yeah, I got smoke coming out of my nostrils too. I'm made in his image. You a damn fool if that's what you think. All you Israelites that run to this verse talking like that to support such a folly, you a damn fool. And you're putting yourself in grave danger of being afflicted with disease. We'll get to it. Don't worry, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Sirach, chapter 30, verse 14. Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. Yeah, that smoking gets you afflicted in your body. You know that, right? Your cardio gets all the way messed up. Your memory gets messed up. Oh, yeah. Your cognitive agility gets messed up. All from doing that. And 9 times out of 10, anytime smoking's involved, sin's involved. Yeah, I told you we're going to get deep. We're going to get in the spirituals. We're going to get real spiritual with this. When you're in that state of impairment, devils have a easier time deceiving you. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know those devils really start spitting game in your ear when you're in that state of mind. Yeah, it's always some type of sin that lurks with that sin. It lurks in the background waiting for the perfect opportunity. Next thing you know, you're getting afflicted with paranoia. Huh? Somebody out there hear me? You're getting afflicted with paranoia. Or more commonly known with it, you smoking, you with a man or a woman that you're not in a righteous union with. fornication happens. Huh? Huh? Stop me when I'm lying. That act is used as an aphrodisiac, right? Huh? Yeah, especially with the aqua. I'm gonna go ahead and say it with you aqua. Any of you aqua out there smoking, I know y'all out there loose. That's a telltale sign. Any of you aqua out there that are smoking, you're loose. You're loose. Name one woman. Name one woman that practices an act of chastity that smokes. I'll wait. I'll wait. Yeah, you can't name one woman who's smoking that ain't out here getting poked. Because that act alone opens the door up for all type of sin and pleasure. It opens the door wide open. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So somebody's going to be exposed. You're going to know of somebody who's going to be exposed by this information here through a Wakwadash. Yeah, that one girl talking about, yeah, me and my homeboy, we were smoking. Oh, yeah, y'all smoking, huh? Y'all like to smoke together? Yeah, y'all doing more than smoking together. Y'all doing way more than smoking together. Those lust demons run rampant with that smoke there. Huh? Those lust demons run rampant with that smoke there. Oh yeah, especially when you combine it with alcohol too. There's going to be a lot of whoredom at play. Huh? Stop me when I'm lying. So that's a telltale sign there. Ain't no way anybody smoking like that and they don't got any of that on their mind. Because whatever discipline you can operate in, right, concerning that folly of fornication, it lowers those defenses. That smoke there, it opens the door wide open for all type of perversion and transgression. Huh. Sirach, chapter 30, verse 15. Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. That smoke isn't giving you strong health and strong body. That smoke ain't doing that for you. It ain't. But by the way of those demons connected to such a habit, building it to be a stronghold against you, you reason with yourself as to why you do it. You make reason to yourself as to why you need it. Yeah, that's folly too. Sirach 30, verse 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. That's your own counsel right there when you make up all these reasons as to why you have to do it. Yeah, there's a lot of abominations that linger once you're under the influence. Huh? There's a lot of abominations that linger once you're under the influence. And see, there's so much craftiness involved with that now that whether it's tobacco or it's that herb, it's tainted with all these things that make it unpure. You can't find any of that pure unless you're growing it yourself. But that's few and far between. Even then, it's not meant to be smoked. Now, that herb has medicinal purposes. The Most High made it. And as we know in Genesis 1:29, he said, every herb yielding seed has he given to us for meat. So if you're truly not abusing this herb, you really use it for some type of medicinal purpose, it's edible. But even then, you have to have enough discipline and wisdom to know the appropriate dosages that's not going to have you in sobriety to where you're not sober. Because once you're not sober minded, you're in sin. That's the tricky part of it. It's not intended to smoke, but if you're going to reap the benefits, you might as well just eat it. But if you're going to eat it, you got to know the right amount to eat to where you're not high out of your mind, to where you're not high at all. I'm trying to tell y'all something. I'm trying to tell y'all. But why even go through all that just to continue to consume it? Why go through all of that? The Most High has made a plethora of different herbal variations that you can consume without having to worry about being drunken, because that's what our holy manuscript identifies being high with: drunkenness. Drunkenness isn't just from alcohol, it's from any type of substance that inhibits or impairs you, inhibits your psychological agility, impairs your perception of things. That's drunkenness. It's not just, it just doesn't have to do with strong drink or wine. Continuing on. Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? That's true. Josephine Israel says, praying and fasting, Yahweh will cure your ailment. Khan. Now, again, with fasting, you gotta be sure you check with your health professional, because some people have certain ailments to where they can't do a strict fast. So before you fast, if you have any type of affliction of an illness or disease, you must check with your health professional. And I'm only stating that to be responsible with the information that's being given out. You know, there's certain ways you have to fast if you have any type of metabolic ailments, such as diabetes. You can't just do a regular fast that's hardcore with no food, having diabetes. You gotta really be vigilant with that. But I digress. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So a lot of y'all got this act of smoking tied to your emotions, to where when somebody speaks against it, you get flared up in defense of it. Why do you get flared up? I'm going to tell you why. Because of all the pleasures you partake in when you're doing it, your spirit automatically cleaves to such pleasures, to where if somebody's speaking against it to wake you up from your delusion, that wicked spirit in you jumps out and fights against that source that's speaking against such pleasure. That's why you love that pleasure so much you get from smoking, and the pleasures that you partake in when you're under its influence, that any information given against it is a threat to such pleasure. Because while you're in that pleasure, it's an escape for you. It's an escape from all your challenges of this world. Now, you know you're in folly if that's the case, because you shouldn't need an outside source to find rest in the battles of life. Well, Wakwadash is enough. You shouldn't have to go to other elements that impair you out of sobriety to find rest. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart and lean not unto your own understanding. That's why you get flared up in your emotions when somebody speaks against this act of smoking. You're leaning on your own understanding. Oh, it's not in Thawara. It's not against Thawara. You're leaning on your own understanding. It's just been proven through Thawara and so many different words that it is indeed against the law. Verse 6, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Are you acknowledging Yahweh in all your ways? Are you really doing that throughout the day? Or are you seeking to get high so you can escape whatever's bothering you? It's that simple. It's that simple. He said, in all your ways acknowledge me, and I will direct your paths. Yah isn't directing you to no substance that's going to take you out of your sobriety. Because when you're not in sobriety, you can't hear from Yah. Wakwadash isn't going to deal with you outside of sobriety. That's why we must remain sober and vigilant. Verse 7, be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear Yahweh and depart from evil. You cleaving to that smoke. You defending that smoke against sound, righteous doctrine. You cleaving to evil. So if you're not wise in your own eyes and you fear Yahweh, right, and you depart from evil, what's the result of that? Verse 8, it shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Last time I checked, smoking don't contribute to your health. It decreases your health. It's scientifically proven. Oh, it's not tobacco. Tobacco products, they put all that other stuff in it. So that's why it's a cleaner smoke. Oh, I smoke it through a water bong. That cleans it. So I got clean smoke. How the hell you got clean smoke going into your lungs? It's smoke. How the hell is smoke being cleaned by water before it enters your lungs? That's stupid. That's foolishness. How do you breathe clean smoke? Smoke itself is a carcinogen, Mashpaka. A carcinogen is a cancer-causing agent. So how are you inhaling clean smoke through a device that allows the smoke to be filtered through water? No, smoke is smoke. It is a carcinogen. Smoke was never meant to be inhaled. First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of YAH, and that the Spirit of YAH dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of YAH, him shall YAH destroy. For the temple of YAH is holy, which temple ye are. So many people, especially these Israelites that support such a folly, they're defiling their bodies. They're defiling their temple, putting themselves in the pathway of destruction. We're already seeing that if you defile this vessel that YAH has given you, YAH will just go ahead and destroy you because you're no good to it. We are supposed to be taking care of these vessels that are given to us, right? Not out here misusing it and abusing it through such substances and profane acts that goes against its natural use and its natural order. That's how you end up destroyed. That's why many people are being destroyed day by day, because they act contrary to the order that has been established by the Most High. What it say here again? 1 Corinthians chapter 3, starting at verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of YAH, and that the Spirit of YAH dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of YAH, him shall YAH destroy. For the temple of YAH is holy, which temple ye are. Now, again, if you're not taking care of your temple, you will face destruction. One way or the other, you will face destruction. And a lot of people, they receive that recompense from such an act by the way of lung diseases, such as lung cancer, emphysema, tuberculosis. The list goes on. All of that is a recompense for such abuse of your temple. Misusing this vessel. First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. Let no man deceive himself. Let no man deceive himself. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise. All right, so you want to go ahead and cleave to such an act, right? You want to go ahead and cleave to such insobriety, right? Okay. Most High just said, don't let yourself be deceived by yourself. You get wise by the ways of this world, you're just going to have to be a fool to become wise. Meaning you're going to have to face some type of destruction. You're going to have to face some type of recompense before you come out of such inferior wisdom. Yeah, supporting smoking, why smoking is a good thing, that's inferior wisdom, which will lead to destruction one way or the other. One way or the other, Mashmaka. There is no benefit to such an act. And sobriety is not beneficial to anybody. It has you wide open in a plane of spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is heavy each and every day, Mashmaka. And when you're not sober, you're more vulnerable to malicious attacks of devils. And remember, those devils can't really attack you unless they get permission from the Most High. So if the Most High gave a devil permission to afflict your life negatively in a very, very harsh way, it's because you were being so foolish at that time that the Most High said, all right, man, let's go ahead and afflict him with this because he ain't listening. She ain't listening. She out here doing this. He out here doing that. All right. Be sober, be vigilant. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear the glorious and fearful name, Yahweh the Alahayim, Yahweh al Shaddai. Verse 59. Then Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses, and of long continuance. Oh, heart disease runs in the family. Yeah, heart disease runs in the family because you eat a whole bunch of abominations and everybody's practicing some type of practice such as smoking. Yeah, I was born with asthma. You was born with asthma because of smoking, secondhand smoke inhalation while you was in your mother's womb. Smoking caused you to be born with asthma. Lung cancer, all of that. Lung cancer can be a generational curse passed down too from such an act of smoking. Cancer of the mouth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All you Akim that like to puff cigars, yeah, you can get cancer of the mouth because you fooling with that smoke. You still putting the branch to the nose. You're still putting the branch to the nose by puffing on a cigar. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, then will Yahweh bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. Because you're defiling the vessel that was given to you, which is also the temple of Yah. That vessel that you move, live, breathe, and function in is also the temple of Yah. Yah sees everything you see. Yah knows exactly every second of what you're doing because your vessel is his temple. Therefore, you devour his temple, or he got it coming for you. One way or the other. So those of you that may be battling this stronghold, may this be motivation for you to conquer this stronghold. Those of you who want to be contentious toward this information, I ain't got nothing to say to you. I'm not going to go back and forth with y'all if you're trying to defend such an act after our holy manuscript has spoken against it through the Spirit. And don't hit my comment section talking that foolishness either, because I'll just block your ass. I ain't here to debate none of this. I'm just here to share the information. With all that being said, may peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Asha Shabbat. Shalom.